Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me today is Jay Hughesman. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you, and hopefully we are looking at Hotlanta, but that's not its new name. It is actually EchoPark Speedway, so we'll talk about that as a reconfiguration, renamed, and get into some of the stats on that.
All right. The NASCAR Reilly Auto Parts Series will be racing the Benefit Transportation and Logistics 250 at EchoPark Speedway on Saturday, February the 21st, starting at 5 p.m. Now, this track is a 1.54-mile asphalt paved oval. It will be on the CW network on TV. That is their home for the year. And then on radio, PRN and SiriusXM Channel 90. They'll race a distance of 251.02 miles over 163 laps. Stage 1 and 2 are 45 laps each, with Stage 1 ending on lap 45, Stage 2 ends on lap 90, and then the last stage is 153 laps, ending on lap 163.
And I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of background and track info. This is the 9th NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Atlanta since the track was reconfigured into a drafting style track back in 2022. But it is the 40th total O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Atlanta, and it's been on the schedule every year since 1992. And with that, four Georgia native drivers will race here at Atlanta. Brandon Jones, who comes from Atlanta in the number 20. Austin Hill in the number 21 comes from Winston, Georgia. And then Kyle and Ryan Sieg. Kyle in the number 28, Ryan in the number 39. They come from Tucker, Georgia.
Okay, Jay just went through our home track drivers. Atlanta does have a unique pit road. We covered this in all three series, so I want to make sure we mention it here as well. Atlanta's entrance to pit road was extended to the end of the backstretch in the spring of the 2023 race. It's now 3,900 feet pit road, which is the longest of all the tracks. Pit road speed is 90 miles per hour from the backstretch to the beginning of the traditional pit road, and that pit road speed is 45 miles an hour. And then the rest, there has not been a green flag pit cycle with the dual pit road speeds. And the pit boxes are the shortest of all tracks. We've got a long entrance, but a short pit stall at 27 feet and 6 inches long.
When we look at the different styles of track, Atlanta now being a super speedway or drafting style, for the 2026 O'Reilly Auto Parts, we're going to have 8 1.5 miles, which is twice at Las Vegas, twice at Charlotte because we've eliminated the Roval. Then you also have Kansas, Texas, Chicagoland is back, and Homestead, Miami. Under the 6 drafting races, that'll be 2 at Daytona, 2 here at EchoPark, and 2 at Talladega. The 5 short tracks double up at Martinsville as well as Bristol, and then throw Iowa into the mix. The road courses, 4 completely different areas as well as tracks. Coda, Watkins Glen, we'll have the Naval Base at Coronado, and Sonoma. Then there's 3 1-mile tracks. We got Dover still on the O'Reilly Auto Parts schedule, and 2 at Phoenix, and 7 others which just don't fit in a category. There'll be 2 races at Darlington. We got Rockingham, Nashville, Pocono, Indianapolis, and St. Louis. What a variety package here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I think that's fantastic. I love it. Okay, now drivers to finish in the top 10 in both Atlanta races last year. Well, those 3 drivers are Nick Sanchez, Eric Almirola, and Daniel Dye. For Nick Sanchez, he finished 5th in February, 1st in June. He's got the best average finish of the 3, and that's at 3.0. Then you've got Eric Almirola, a 3rd in February, a 7th in June, and a 5.0 average finish, not bad. And Daniel Dye, 7th in February, 8th in June, with a 7.5 average finish. All really good average finishes there. What you need to know, though, is that Sanchez is the only of those drivers that are entered this weekend. So we will not see Eric Almirola or Daniel Dye on track.
And one of the biggest things to highlight about Atlanta and the reconfiguration in 2022, the pass for the win has occurred in the final 6 laps 5 times. And Sharon's got the chart up here, so I'm not necessarily going to go through all of them, but look at some highlights from it. I will break down last year's. The June race, Nick Sanchez took the lead from Jesse Love with 6 laps remaining, and Austin Hill took it from Eric Almirola in the February race with just 1 lap to go. And that 1 lap to go happened one other time, and that was in 2022 when Ty Gibbs took it from Ryan Sieg. And as you look at that chart, you see some common names, Austin Hill being one of them. But Jesse Love has been passed for the win in 2 of the last 4 Atlanta races. That's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking for Jesse. So you know he's going to be a man on a mission this year. Okay, now recent racing trends and patterns. The driver starting first won 7 of the last 12 races dating back to just last year. And Joe Gibbs Racing and Richard Childress Racing have won 7 of the last 8 races. And despite the fact that Junior Motorsports won 17 races in the season last year.
And then we got to look at the importance of the pole. The pole winner has gone on to win 6 of the last 11 races. And again, we can now share this chart up here so you can look all the way through that going back to, August 9th of 2025 at Watkins Glen when Connor Zilich did it. And you'll see his name up there several times. And actually, he's the one we're going to highlight just because he's done it so many times. He did it at Portland Road Course in 2025, as well as Gateway. Who's the other number ones there? Brandon Jones did it at Kansas with 1 lap to go in September of 2025. Connor Zilich again at the Charlotte Roval of that same year. And then most recently, though, it was Austin Hill at Daytona in February here just last week. So those are your number ones to do it.
Next up, we have the Stage 1 winner that went on to win 4 of the last 6 races. And I'll tell you, we've got quite a few that finished first, but there are a few here that did not finish first. Jesse Love was the Stage 2 winner last fall at the Charlotte Roval. He ended up finishing in 12th place. October at Martinsville, Justin Allgaier won Stage 1, but finished 26th at the end of the race. And Carson Cavapo won Stage 2, but ended up 18th at the end of the race. Then you've got the other ones all finished top 10, which is really good, or first. You'll see a lot of first up here on this list, including Austin Hill just this year at Daytona. He won both of those stages and finished first at the end of the race. 3 of the last 5 winners actually swept the stages.
And we talked about this a little bit. We'll break it down, though. Despite Junior Motorsports winning 17 total races in 2025, Richard Childress Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing combined to win 7 of the last 8. And you can see the breakdown there. The ones where Junior Motorsports in that group had the Charlotte Roval victory with Connor Zilich. But it was Eric Almirola and Brandon Jones picking up wins for Joe Gibbs Racing, as well as Taylor Gray. I don't want to leave him out. And then on the Richard Childress side, it was Austin Hill and Jesse Love. Austin Hill extending that RCR streak to 2 after Jesse Love won at Phoenix. Austin Hill winning here at Daytona to kick us off this year.
And I really think Richard Childress Racing is going to be one of the organizations to watch this weekend.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. It's still a drafting style track. I'm leaning towards Jesse Love, but you cannot count out Austin Hill on any drafting style track.
No, indeed. Okay, the longest active top 10 streaks in this series include Sammy Smith with 4. He's at the top of the list, but 3 drivers have 2. That's Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, and Jesse Love. The longest active streaks running at the finish, Blaine Perkins at the top of the list with 24, Jesse Love with 15. Then you drop down to Justin Allgaier with 13. Austin Hill and Kyle Sieg both have 10.
Well, there again, you see the 2 RCR, Jesse Love and Austin Hill on both of those lists. So,
yes.
And I know it's early. We only got the 1 race in Daytona, and it's kind of its separate entity. But we got to start looking already at this championship picture, which remember this year is now back to the chase format. So it's not a matter of a win getting you in. So where you are in points matters. And Austin Hill is king of the hill, if you will. And I want to point out they have 16 drivers listed here, but it is only the top 12 in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts that get in. So Austin Hill, your leader, is 50 above the cut line, but 25 point above second place Justin Allgaier. Carson Cavapos in third at minus 28 overall, 22 to the good of the cut line. Then you got Jesse Love and Sammy Smith rounding out your top 5, 6th through 10th. Blaine Perkins, Ryan Sieg, Rajah Caruth, Jordan Anderson, good race, and Ryan Ellis. Now here's where it gets tight because we're into single digits already. 11th is Parker Retzlaff, minus 47 from the lead, but plus 3 to the cut line. Anthony Alfredo is the cut line. He's 49 points back from the lead, but only plus 1. And then to hit those that are right in the mix, Brennan Poole, Kyle Sieg, William Sawalich, and LeVar Scott. Now, Rajah Caruth is the only one to have the Fast Lap Award. He picked that up at Daytona. We'll keep track of that throughout the year because, what do we say, Sharon? Every point matters.
Yes, it does. And we say that a lot. Let's talk about Austin Hill's drafting domination. Austin Hill won his 15th career O'Reilly Series race, and that's a series record. It's his 11th drafting track race at Daytona. Since joining Richard Childress Racing in 22, Austin Hill's won 11 drafting track races. The rest of the field has 13 wins in that time. That's how good Austin Hill has been. He's also the all-time drafting track series leader with 888 laps led and 18 stage wins. And his Daytona win was his 4th in the last 5 season openers. And Saturday was the 7th time a Daytona winner led 70-plus laps. Austin Hill becomes the 4th driver to lead more than 70 laps with that Daytona win. So he has just been phenomenal on drafting tracks.
And as Sharon scrolls up, you can see these charts that show this dominance, the highlighted gold there. He's first all-time in wins, stage wins at 18, and the laps led at 888. But what you want to look at is the next closest. Wins, his 11 is over Dale Earnhardt and Tony Stewart at 8. His stage wins of 18 ranks over Justin Allgaier with 9. And the laps led 888 is over Dale Earnhardt Jr. at 691. And you scroll down a little further, what you got there, Sharon?
We've got the most drafting track wins all time. Austin Hill is at the top once again with 11. We mentioned Dale Earnhardt, Tony Stewart both having 8, and Dale Jr. with 7. Active drivers this weekend with drafting track wins. Austin Hill at the top again, but the next closest is Jeb Burton and Jesse Love with 2. And then Justin Allgaier, Jeremy Clements, and Sammy Smith all have 1. So he is just head over heels above the rest of the active drivers.
And the names are the same, and the stats is a little bit deeper, though. It's if Austin Hill finishes in the top 10, it's usually a win. So you look at his 11 wins, total top 10s is 12. That means only one time was he in the top 10 and didn't get the win, and that's a 92% career top 10. Dale Earnhardt, his 8 wins, 11 in the top 10 is only a 73. I say only, it's still 70 or 3/4 of the time, but it's 73%. Tony Stewart's 8 wins came with 12 top 10s, giving his percentage 67. Still impressive, but that just shows you how dominant Austin Hills is.
That is so impressive because Dale Earnhardt and Tony Stewart, 2 Hall of Famers.
There you go.
92% over them. So it's just, it just is phenomenal what Austin Hill is doing. Now, Austin Hill had help from multiple drivers to take the lead at Daytona. And on lap 1, he was on the pole. Lap 9, he passed William Sawalich. He was helped by Jesse Love. Lap 45, he passed William Sawalich once again. And this time he got help from 2 drivers, Rajah Caruth and Jesse Love, his teammate. On lap 59, he was able to pass Raja Caruth with help from Carson Cavapo. 109, it was his teammate Jesse Love with help from Blaine Perkins. And then Sammy Smith helped him pass his teammate one more time on lap 115. So some interesting stats there.
And let's compare how Austin Hill's drafting dominance compares to the best on other types of tracks. So most wins goes to Austin Hill, 11 wins in 26 starts. That's 42%. Road courses, no surprise, AJ Allmendinger has the lead there with 11 wins, but that's in 34 starts, which is only a 32% winning percentage. On the 1.5 miles, you can't have a list without Kyle Busch, right? 37 wins in 125 starts, that's only 30%. And then short tracks, you got to go back in history. Jack Ingram, 24 wins in 172 starts, that's 14%. So again, look at that percentage of 42 to 32, 30, and 14.
So Austin Hill is getting a lot done in a very short amount of time.
That is indeed true.
Okay, now the most laps led by a Daytona winner, going back to 1998, it was Joe Nemechek with 105. He has the most. But let's see, Austin Hill, the current driver, in just last week at Daytona, he led 78 laps. We talked about that. Other names on this list, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jr., and again, Joe Nemechek.
And here we joke about when it comes down to this kind of dominance, it's a driver against the field. Austin Hill versus the field in the draft since 2022. 11 wins, 13 for the field on wins. The next closest we hit, Jesse Love with 2. Stage wins was 18 for Hill. The rest of the field, 30. And Justin Allgaier second closest with only 7. And I say that only. That is not a derogatory. I'm just saying it's a low number compared to Austin Hill's. And the laps led 888. There you got a bigger margin. It's 2,275 for the field. But when you look individually, Jesse Love at 426 is almost half less than that. And when you look at those laps led, Austin Hill at 888, it's, as Sharon mentioned, Dale Jr. at 691, Dale Earnhardt Sr. at 573, Kyle Busch also on there at 464, and then active driver, his teammate, Jesse Love, at 426. So break that a little bit more.
Yeah. Austin Hill's stats are really, truly impressive. Okay, now the most drafting track stage wins all time. We've said it. Austin Hill has 18. Justin Allgaier next closest at 9. Justin Haley and Jesse Love both have 5. And polls, Joe Nemechek, front row Joe, has the most at 10. But right behind him, Jesse Love with 7 and Austin Hill with 6. One of the few areas where Jesse Hill has it over Austin Hill.
And that puts him into what they call beast mode. If Austin Hill wins in Atlanta, he'll become the first driver to win the first 2 races of a season multiple times. He won at Daytona and Atlanta back in 2024, and it would be the 5th time that opening 2 races of the season were won by the same driver. Now, Hill has won 5 of the 8 Atlanta races since that 2022 reconfiguration. His 5 wins is tied with Kevin Harvick for most all time. However, Hill's all came in the draft on this new style, whereas Harvick's wins all came before that. And with his 5 wins, he's also got 6 top 5s and 364 laps led, which are all his best at any single track.
And I suspect that Austin Hill will pass Kevin Harvick this weekend.
Certainly could.
All right. Austin Hill heads to his best track. He's got 5 wins. The next best track is Daytona with 4. He's got 6 top 5s with 4 at Daytona. And laps led 364 with only 267, and I say only again, at Daytona. So some impressive stats there. Drivers to win the first 2 races of the season. Austin Hill is the only current driver to do that. And he could be the first driver to win the first 2 races of a season 2 times. So keep your eye on that this weekend. He did win Daytona. Can he win Atlanta and become the first driver to do that 2 times? Other drivers on this list, Tony Stewart in 2008, Chad Little in 1995, and Dale Earnhardt going all the way back to 1986.
All right, the right side of this next block here you see is where it talks about Kevin Harvick and Austin Hill before and after the reconfiguration. The left side, though, when you look at his 5 wins, the next closest is 3 drivers, Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek, and Nick Sanchez, only have 1 compared to Austin Hill's 5.
All right, now 7 of 8 Atlanta winners since 2022 started 2nd to 5th. And wow, there's some really cool stats here. You see Austin Hill's name a lot on this list. In 22, 5, that's his furthest back he started. All the others are closer than that. Ty Gibbs started in 4th place before he won. John Hunter Nemechek 2nd, and he was able to win in 23. And then Nick Sanchez 11th. And he was able to win in June of 2025. But Austin Hill here is between 2nd and 5th in all 5 of those races that you see here. So pretty impressive for Austin Hill once again.
And we can't help but continue to point out where he is over other drivers here. So that's what we're going to look at here. The most Atlanta top 10s in this reconfiguration. Hill with 6. The next is Sammy Smith and Ryan Truex with 4. Then you got Sam Mayer, Reilly Herbst, AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Parker Kligerman with 3. When you look at the top 5s, it's Hill at the top with 6. Daniel Hemrick has 3, and 7 other drivers have 2. And the last one, the laps led, 364 for Hill, his teammate Jesse Love at 196, AJ Allmendinger there at 114, and Sheldon Creed. And we'll talk about him a little bit here with his 2nd place finishes. He's led 93 laps.
All right, moving right along here, Richard Childress Racing's drafting supremacy, and that extends over multiple drivers. Richard Childress Racing has won 54% of drafting track races since 2022. That's 13 of the total 24 races. Their teammates, Austin Hill at 888 and Jesse Love at 426, are both in the top 5 drafting tracks laps led all time. And Richard Childress Racing has led 105, 88% of the laps at Daytona. The rest of the field combined has led only 15. RCR also won both stages with Austin Hill. That's pretty impressive for RCR with the drivers that he has, past and present.
And that's where the polls falls under both categories there. Jesse Love with the 3 leading the way, but Sheldon Creed and Chandler Smith, when they drove for RCR, each had 1. And then you look at 3 of the last 4 polls, and that is Jesse Love in the 2 races in 24 as well as 1 in 25. But Sheldon Creed was the other RCR driver to get 1 in 2025.
Now, Richard Childress Racing dominated Daytona again, 105 laps, the rest of the field 15. We talked about that. And laps led 88% compared to the rest of the field at 13%. So just a brief recap of that.
Next is those 13 of the 24 drafting track race wins since 2022. We've talked about the wins that RCR has, so I'm going to highlight the ones that weren't RCR. In the March race at Atlanta, it was Ty Gibbs for Joe Gibbs Racing. At Talladega the following month, it was Noah Gragson for Junior Motorsports. Love this one, independent. Jeremy Clements picked up the Daytona win in August of 2022. AJ Allmendinger did it at Talladega in October for Colleague Racing. And Jeb Burton, Talladega, you got to love Talladega. Anybody can win it. In April of 23, that was for Jordan Anderson as well. John Hunter Nemechek got the win for Joe Gibbs Racing in Atlanta in July of 23. Junior Motorsports, Justin Allgaier did it at Daytona in August. And then they got to skip it down a little bit. Joe Gibbs Racing, Ryan Truex at Daytona, another wild card race in August of 24. Who's the Junior Motorsports there was Talladega. So Junior Motorsports kind of has Talladega figured out. Sammy Smith in October of 24. And then we talked about Nick Sanchez, and that was with Big Machine Racing in Atlanta in June of last year. And Connor Zilich was the one to do it at Daytona in August of that year, and that was for Junior Motorsports. But again, that's 54% for RCR.
11 of those are Austin Hill. Okay, now Richard Childress Racing won 13 of the last 16 drafting track polls as well. And you do see Austin Hill's name on here several times, as well as Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed. So going back to 22 at Talladega, all of these races are between Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta. The only one that did not have qualifying was the Atlanta race in March of 2023 that you see here. Chandler Smith, one of the exceptions here in July of 23 at Atlanta for Colleague Racing. Then you've got Chandler Smith again for Joe Gibbs Racing at Daytona in August of 24. No qualifying in February of 25. So Haas Factory Team, that was Sheldon Creed at Atlanta in June of last year. And again, no qualifying in August of last year at Daytona. So, but you see a lot of Richard Childress Racing here between the drivers that have raced at his track. Austin Hill, Jesse Love, those two primarily.
All right, and we have a return this weekend as Ross Chastain is going to make his first of 4 starts this season in Jordan Anderson Racing's number 32. Ross's 4 scheduled races will be Atlanta, Coda, Watkins Glen, and Sonoma. Now, this is his first O'Reilly Auto Parts Series start on this reconfigured EchoPark Speedway. But he does have 4 top 10s and 8 Cup Series starts at this reconfiguration. So look for Ross Chastain in the O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yeah, I think it's great that he's racing for Jordan Anderson Racing. We'll see how that goes. Now, Justin Allgaier has a milestone chase. He's got the most consecutive seasons with a O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win. Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, and Justin Allgaier are all tied. So he has a chance, if he's able to win this weekend, to break that tie. Allgaier could break it sometime, if not this race, maybe a race in 2026. He has 28 career wins and 9th on that list. He's just 1 away from tying Matt Kenseth. So he'll break this tie, but maybe get into a tie with Matt.
And when you look at the full-time drivers that are currently active, those 28 wins is above Austin Hill, who has 15, Sam Merritt 8, Brandon Jones at 7, and Harrison Burton at 4. Then you got a bunch of drivers, a couple of drivers, I guess, with 3. Jesse Love, Sammy Smith, Jeb Burton, and Jeremy Clements each have 2, and Taylor Gray with 1. Those are your 10 full-time drivers. On the right side there, that's that list she mentioned of all-time wins. Kyle Busch absolutely way at the top at 102. Mark Martin second with 49. Kevin Harvick 47. Brad Keselowski 39. Carl Edwards 38. Then you got the historic Jack Ingram at 31. Joe Logano's got 30. Matt Kenseth 29. There you have Justin Allgaier with 28, who again could move up. Actually, he could move all the way above Ingram here this year if he were to get 3 victories. And then Jeff Burton is on there as well at 27.
All right. Now, the most drafting track starts all time. Jeremy Clements is at the top of that list right now, but he's just 1 away from Joe Nemechek at 59 and Justin Allgaier also at 59. Most laps led all time in the series. Kyle Busch, the standout, 20,129 compared to second place, Kevin Harvick at 9,706. Mark Martin at 8,137. Justin Allgaier falls in there at 7,141. And he's even above Carl Edwards at 5,985. So some pretty impressive stats there.
And with that, Justin Allgaier is a junior motorsports driver, and they got some streaks they're looking at. The longest top 5 finishes all time. And that is currently active. And they're on a streak of 36. It started back in Martinsville of 2024 in the fall race. When we look at other streaks, 22 is the next longest, and that was by Joe Gibbs Racing from 2024 into 2025. The other one at 22 is Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, and that was from '08 into '09. Now, again, Junior Motorsports, that's continuous because they take that into 2026 here.
Now, the longest streak of top 10 finishes by a team all time, well, Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing is at the top with 79. Junior Motorsports has done it, though, 3 times, including the current year, and they are carrying over into the current year, as Jay referenced. They are tied with Joe Gibbs Racing at 58. But the fact that they did it 2 other times is pretty impressive in and of itself. But their streak is still active, so we'll see if they continue to climb up that ladder.
When we look at other organizations, most wins all time, that is Joe Gibbs Racing by itself at 221. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing comes in at 138. And then Junior Motorsports at 105 and Richard Childress Racing at 104. And we saw them break into the 100 category just over the last 2 years. JGR, JRM, and RCR won 29 of the 33 races in 2025. The right side, those are your active teams with wins in the O'Reilly Auto Parts. Again, Joe Gibbs Racing, they're at the top, followed by Junior Motorsports and then RCR. Look down to that next jump. It's down to 30. RCR at 104 drops down to Hendrick Motorsports at 30. Now, they are going to go back full-time racing this year, I believe. You also got Big Machine Racing and Jeremy Clements with 2 wins. Haas Factory Team, Jordan Anderson Racing, RSS Racing, as well as SS Greenlight Racing, each have 1.
All right. Now, Jeremy Clements also has a milestone for us to keep an eye on this weekend. And you can see here, this is starts all time. Kenny Wallace is at the top of the list at 547, followed by Jeff Green at 535. But Jeremy Clements is not far behind. He's at 531. So keep your eye on Jeremy Clements. He could probably surpass that this year. Jason Keller at 520 and Justin Allgaier at 505. If he makes every start, Clements will tie Kenny Wallace at Pocono in race number 17 this year. So I'm talking about not just beating the next guy, but he could beat Kenny Wallace. And he could break the record at the San Diego race. So keep your eye on that. That's race number 18. If he makes every start, Allgaier can also finish the season with 537 starts, moving him up on the list to 3rd place. So pretty cool to see that as possibilities for both Jeremy Clements and Justin Allgaier.
And Sharon and I always like this category, the 2026 Rookie Class Performance. When we look at wins by rookies in recent season, this goes back to 2016 where they had 4. 2017 had 5, a high mark there of 9 in 2018. Then it dropped down to 1. We've had 4 and 5 in 2020 and 21. 22 had 2 as well as 23. We had 4 in 2024. And this one we're going to break down because this is more recent. It was SVG with 3, Jesse Love with 1. There's an asterisk there, and that's because Connor Zilic won in his first career start, but wasn't technically a rookie until 2025. And in 2025, Zilic absolutely set the mark. 10 wins by himself, 11 on the year, because Nick Sanchez also got 1.
All right, let's take a look at that rookie snapshot. The drivers listed here for 2026 are LeVar Scott, Patrick Staropoli, Luke Van Housen, Brent Cruz. Now, LeVar in the 45 finished 16th at Daytona. That's a career best for him. Patrick Staropoli came in at 18th in the number 48. In the number 5, Luke Van Housen finished 23rd. And in the 19, he's going to make his series debut at COTA because he's not quite old enough yet. So watch for him at COTA. Most wins by rookies, Connor Zilic at the top with those 10 wins last year. But Christopher Bell had 7 in 2018. Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards all with 5. Greg Biffles in 2001, Kyle Busch in 2004, and Carl Edwards in 2005.
That just amazes me. Connor Zilic doubled up drivers like Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards. That's unbelievable.
Yes, it is. Mind-boggling.
Now, I said we'd talk about this. It's unfortunate, but it is a streak, if you will. Sheldon Creed in his quest for his first win. He's got the most runner-up finishes without a win all time at 15 second place finishes, and that comes in 137 starts. Ryan Sieg's currently at 5 second place finishes, and he has a career 401 starts. Other drivers want to mention Brian Scott, 210, had 4 seconds. Also with 4, Stacy Compton, 173 starts, and Carson Kavapel in 43 starts. The laps led without the win. That actually goes to Brian Scott at 659. Sheldon Creed is second there with 590.
Now, the most runner-up finishes prior to a win in the series, you got Sheldon Creed, who's still winless. He's been runner-up, as Jay outlined there, 15 times. The other drivers, Dale Jarrett in 86, Orange Speedway, he had 10 runner-up finishes. And Daniel Hemrick in November of 21 with 10 at Phoenix. Sheldon Creed's runner-up finishes by track. He's got 3 at Martinsville, Daytona and Watkins Glen and Bristol. He has 2 at each of those tracks. And the tracks where he has 1 runner-up finish, Darlington, Phoenix, Talladega, Michigan, New Hampshire, and Sonoma. So those runner-ups are on a variety of different tracks.
And I go back here as we wrap up that last one, Daniel Hemrick, getting that first win after so many second place finishes. He did it in style because that gave him the championship at Phoenix. So no better way to get your first win than secure a championship with it.
Absolutely. Really cool to see his first win. It's got to be coming somewhere down the road here.
Certainly, and again, looking at that of 3 seconds at Martinsville, hopefully he can do it at Atlanta, but odds favor Martinsville.
Okay, Jay, we are at that point of the race. Who's your pick at that point of the show?
Oh, man. Again, I kind of got to go towards Jesse Love. It is a drafting style track now, so RCR, the dominance we covered. I'll take the second low-hanging fruit of Jesse Love.
And I'll take the first low-hanging fruit. I think Austin Hill's going to get that record 2 times winning the first 2 races of the season. And I'm picking him to win. I like the whole low-hanging fruit.
Right. Yeah, well, and again, if you're going to put money on it, stick with RCR, and you'll learn more about that as Taz and Sharon do their fantasy preview come Friday.
Yes, indeed. Do watch for more coming soon. That's the first thing that's going to be coming soon here is the fantasy report that we will be doing on Friday. On the other side of the weekend, Jay and I will be back with our Hot Topic Sound Off at 8:15 on Monday night. And then Race Chat Live is always on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that's 8:15 p.m. Central Time. Also, included with our Hot Topic Sound Off is a review of the races from the weekend. So we'll be covering that in the Hot Topics. But some other things that happened this week on Tuesday, Sal did an interview with Robbie Keneally. You'll want to listen to that. He raced at Daytona for the very first time. He said the biggest track he's raced on before coming to Daytona this weekend, Jay, was at Phoenix. That's a 1-mile track. So this was quite the experience for Robbie, and he talks about the highs and the lows, and it's a do not miss interview. Then on Wednesday, we had the Race Chat Live guys. We're talking Chris Crichton, Taz Taylor, and CJ, all talking about the news stories this week and their thoughts about what's going on in the world of NASCAR. So you'll want to definitely take a listen to that. And we have those both on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're a Facebook person, look for Fan for Racing blog and radio on Facebook, and we stream simultaneously between the 2 services. So Jay, we're back to where we started.
It is, and it's been a good ride, and look forward to the 2026 season this next weekend. All three of NASCAR's top three series running at EchoPark Speedway in Atlanta. So tune in for that. As we've covered, it's some wild and exciting racing.
And while you're at it, tell us who you're picking to win all three of these races. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next video.